Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here and it's Monday the 23rd of January. Thanks for watching. As always, this site's kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. So if you see one you like, do click on it, go through to it. It generates revenue for us and shows the sponsor you're interested in them too. Of course, don't just click on it willy-nilly. Do actually click on the advert because you want to have a look at what the advertiser's advertising. Again, thanks for supporting us. And obviously the Northern Lights last night. They were all the way down to Scotland and Northern England, and they may be again during the course of tonight, given some clear skies. Best of those look to be across northern and eastern sides of the country. Look towards the northern sky for kind of a greeny, orangey glow. They really are spectacular. I've seen them all the way down here in the Midlands on a couple of occasions, and if you are lucky enough to see them, they are truly superb. But you need to keep watching because they're quite ethereal and they can kind of come and go and drift in and drift out. So do keep your eyes peeled. It's well worth looking. Okay, so where are we with the cold weather? Well, this is the temperature chart for Manchester for this week. We've got the dates across the bottom here. What I want you to notice is the red line here. Notice how we're kind of relatively mild during the next couple of days, but look what happens. This is overnight Wednesday into Thursday, a big drop in temperature which lasts through Thursday and into Friday before a slow pickup into the weekend. But I do think Thursday, Friday, the focus for our cold during this week. It's probably coming in about 24 hours quicker than, about 12 hours quicker actually than was predicted last week. But certainly this is a cold snap, and I want to rule out the risk of some snow in places on Thursday morning, particularly northern England, across the hills of northern England, Scotland, and also across the hills of Wales too, but maybe a few flakes even down at lower levels as well. It looks like being quite an unsettled day on Thursday, with a deep trough swinging its way eastwards through the country, and that all kind of adds up to this idea of snow showers. But no widespread snow looks to be on the cards for much of the country. So what are the indexes doing? Well, this is the North Atlantic Index, the oscillation index for the next few days, and it's bouncing around the neutral kind of territory. And when it's positive, that means we get strong winds, strong westerly winds across the Atlantic. When it's negative, that's when those winds have broken down. So neutral kind of gives us weakish sort of westerly winds across the Atlantic. And if we look at the Arctic oscillation, when that's in negative territory, that's when the winds around the Arctic Circle are lighter and it allows cold air to drain off the poles. So you notice how it's in that territory, look, getting through to around Sunday into Monday, but then it lifts to near a neutral. So GFS is trying to hint at the idea that the cold air perhaps not as keen as getting off the pole by early February, but I do stress this doesn't really fundamentally affect my forecast of cooler weather or even colder weather during the course of next week. What I wanted to show you this morning with these charts, this is the 500 millibar flow comparing various different models, and these are all valid for midnight on Sunday, so midnight on the 29th. And what to notice from these, this is the GFS look, a ridge through the country at 500 with this trough across Scandinavia into Central Europe. Very similar for the Canadian model, although the trough is a little bit further westwards look. That would need to be watched for the possibility of bringing some outbreaks of snow down through East Anglia and South East England. The UK Met Office has got the trough again through Scandinavia into central parts of Europe and reached through the British Isles, while the ECMWF goes with the Canadian look and tries to bring that trough closer to these eastern coasts, but a ridge across the country. So it's something that we need to watch. This ridge is in by the looks of it, that's high pressure, but this trough is close to those eastern coasts, so not completely ruling out the possibility of some snow flows across East Anglia and South East England on Sunday morning, depending on how close this trough is. So we've got reasonable agreement in the models during this time. But what about further afield? Well, we lose the UK Met Office and the Canadian model a little bit further afield. I should have said, by the way, these charts are coming in from weatheronline.co.uk. But let's see what happens. This is Monday, look, for the same time. 500 millibar flow again. GFS has got the trough extending through Scandinavia, Central Europe, and similar for the ECMWF. But what it does do, it develops a cold pool of its own, look, in the Western Mediterranean, but still got the ridge through the British Isles. Let's knock it on by 24 hours and see what happens, because this idea of models agreeing with each other builds confidence in the forecast. Here's Tuesday midnight look, still got a trough Scandinavia into Central Europe, and the same for the ECMWF with a ridge across the British Isles, but notice ECMWF, look, brings a further trough into the west of the country, whereas the GFS doesn't do that. The GFS maintains a ridge. So we have a fundamental difference between the models here as to how things develop. If the ECMWF came true, that would bring a front through western Scotland, Ireland, western parts of Wales. Milder conditions here, but what it would do is it would keep England and Wales generally cold under high pressure, and that would be the same for the GFS. So the idea of England and Wales staying fairly cold under high pressure is building, and it would be fairly frosty. I think daytime temperatures 3s and 4s, nighttime temperatures -2s, -3s, but -5s if we've got some clear skies for England and Wales. Then we get on to Wednesday. Look, ridge is still there through Scotland, Ireland, northern England, western Wales, but the GFS keeps this trough, this low, this cut-off cold pool here across central and southern parts of Europe. Similar again for the ECMWF, but that's bringing the trough through Scotland. Look, and it tries to bring milder conditions into Scotland, northern England, Wales, southwest England and Ireland, and keeps most of central and eastern and southern England cold, which is what the GFS does. But the GFS brings snow across East Anglia and the southeast of England, or at least the risk of it, during Wednesday. On to Thursday, and on Thursday again we go back into very similar conditions. Actually, the models do fall in line. Look, the GFS brings a ridge back through the country, as does the ECMWF, and it brings this cold pool across central southern parts of Europe, which is what the ECMWF does. So this is again building this confidence even further that the high pressure stays in. It stays cool to cold through the course of next week, and we lose the the ECMWF by next Friday, but it's building confidence that this high stays in. It gets colder across England and Wales, an increased risk of frost, generally dry, but that fronts are likely to be crossing Scotland and Ireland at times, bringing some milder conditions in there. So I don't think everywhere is going to be cold during next week, but it will be colder across England and Wales, and dry too. So I hope that's been useful for you. Thanks again for watching. I'll update you on the musings, and you'll notice that Captain Bob will update, and the Weather Web reporters will be updating throughout the course of the day on there too. Don't forget to go onto the site, make any comments that you want about the forecast on that site too. And once again, thanks for watching, and keep the sun shining.